Now
Men
I
over
have to
60,
ask,
doctor
were
explains
you
add these
surprised
5
by this?
unusual morning
The
add-ins.
idea that
For
less
rock
can
solid
actually
performance,
be
gentlemen,
more.
let's be honest for a
If
moment.
so, I'd
Do
love
you
to hear
remember a
from you.
time when your
It helps
mornings
me
just
understand
felt
what
different?
information
That
is most
natural sign of
valuable
a
to
man's
you.
health.
Just
The
go
one
down
that
to
used
the
to be there
comments and
without
type
a
the
second
word
thought. If that feeling has
recovery.
become a distant
It's a
memory,
powerful
I want
word,
you to know
and it's
something
the key to
important.
maintaining
You
your
are not
vitality
alone.
for the long
So
haul.
many men I've
We've
spoken
covered
with in my
pressure.
practice, they
We've
just
covered
sigh and they
frequency.
say, well,
Now,
doc,
let's talk
I guess
about
I'm
the
just getting
final
older.
piece of
It's
this
what we've
puzzle.
all been told to expect.
piece that
But
is
what if I
perhaps
told
the
you
most
it's often less
overlooked,
about the number of
and
candles
yet
on your
the
birthday
most
cake
easily
and much more
fixed?
about something happening
The third
silently
critical
inside your blood
mistake
vessels.
is
In
attempting
fact, a
masturbation
landmark study from the
without
Cleveland
proper
Clinic,
lubrication.
published just
Now,
last year
this
in
is
the
a big
Journal
one,
of Urology,
and it's
analyzed
rooted in a
data
very
from over
dangerous
10,000 men.
misconception that has been
10,000.
passed down
And they
for
discovered that
generations.
after age
The
50,
common
the body's
mistake is
production of a
believing that
vital molecule
lubricant
called
is a
nitric
tool
oxide, the open
exclusively
signal for blood
partnered
flow,
sex.
can drop by a
Many
staggering
men think,
50%.
I'm by
This isn't
myself,
just
my body
theory.
produces
This is
what
what
it
I see
needs.
every day.
So why
I
would
think of a
bother with
patient of
that?
mine, Michael, a
I've heard this
62-year-old
dozens of
retired
times in my
teacher.
clinic.
He was
Men
convinced his
often
low
see it as
energy
an
was simply old
unnecessary
age.
accessory,
But when we
or even
looked
a sign
closer,
of
the
some
real
kind of
culprit was his
deficiency.
morning coffee
But I am
routine.
telling you today,
Specifically,
from
the
a
sugar in it,
medical
which
and
was causing these
dermatological
chronic blood
standpoint,
sugar spikes,
that
slowly
belief is
damaging
not
those
only
tiny,
incorrect,
delicate blood
it
vessels
is
day after
actively
day.
harmful,
Hello, I'm Dr.
especially after
Audrey
the age
Wells.
of 60.
And for over 2 decades,
Ignoring
I've
this
helped men
simple
just like
step is
Michael
like
reclaim their
driving your car
vitality.
without
In this
any
video,
oil.
I'm going to
You
show
might
you
get
how
away
5
with it
simple
for a little
ingredients,
while,
likely
but
already in your
eventually you are
kitchen,
going
can
to
be added
cause
to your morning
serious,
coffee to help
expensive, and
support your
painful
body's
damage
natural
to the
circulation.
engine.
Now, if any of
why
this
does
sounds
this
familiar
become
to you, please
non-negotiable
do
as
me a
we
favor
age?
and let me know in the comments
scientific
where you're watching
reasoning is
from.
twofold.
And be sure to tap that
First,
like
let's talk
button
about
and
your
subscribe
skin.
because you are
As you
not
get
going to want
older
to
and
miss
as your
what comes next.
testosterone levels
All right,
naturally
let's get right into
decline,
our first
the skin
simple
of the
upgrade for
penis
your
becomes
morning coffee.
physiologically
We are going to
different.
begin with
It
ingredient
becomes
number
thinner,
1, cinnamon.
less elastic,
Specifically,
and
the blood sugar
significantly more
stabilizer.
susceptible to
Now,
damage.
here is a
It
critical
loses
mistake
some of
that
its
so many
natural
men make.
resilience.
They hear that
At the
cinnamon
same
is good
time,
for them,
your
so
body's
they
own
grab the
lubrication
cheapest dark
production
powder they see in the
decreases.
spice aisle.
The
Often, that's
pre-ejaculatory
cassia
fluid
cinnamon,
that your
which is
body
fine in
produced
small amounts.
effortlessly
But
in
what
your
we're really
younger
after is
years,
Ceylon cinnamon.
it often
It's
becomes
a lighter
scanty
color, has
or
a
may
more
disappear
delicate flavor,
entirely.
and most
So you
importantly,
have a
it
situation
contains the
where you have
beneficial
more
compounds
vulnerable
without the high
skin
levels
and
of
less
coumarin,
natural
a
protection.
substance that can be
When you
tough on your
combine
liver
these
in
two
large
factors
doses.
with the
So
friction
choosing the
from a
right
dry
type of
hand,
cinnamon, that is
you
the key.
create a perfect
So why
storm
is
for
real
what we
Ceylon
call
cinnamon so
microtrauma.
effective for a man's
You are
vitality,
creating
especially
thousands
after
of
60?
microscopic
It really
tears in
comes
the
down to
surface
how
of
it
the
handles
skin.
blood sugar.
Now, these
When you
aren't
eat a
cuts
meal,
you can see with the
especially one with
naked eye,
carbohydrates
but
or
under a
sugar,
microscope,
your blood glucose
they are
can
like
spike.
tiny
Over the
open
years,
doors,
these constant spikes are like
entry
sending
points for
tiny,
bacteria.
abrasive particles
And
through
the
your
scientific
circulatory
proof of
system.
what happens
They slowly
next
scrape
is
away and damage
undeniable
the delicate
and
inner
very
lining
well
of your blood
documented
vessels,
in
particularly the
dermatological
smallest ones
literature.
that are so critical
These
for circulation
microtears
and
are the number
performance.
one
Ceylon
cause
cinnamon
of a
contains
very
unique
painful and
compounds,
persistent
specifically
infection
polyphenols, that
called
help your body
balanitis,
manage this response.
which is an
They
inflammation
improve your
of
cell
the glands
sensitivity to
or the
insulin,
head of the
allowing
penis.
sugar to be
It
used
can
for
cause
energy more
redness,
efficiently,
swelling,
instead of lingering in the
itching,
bloodstream
and
where it can
significant
cause
pain.
damage.
I
And
have
this
treated
isn't just a
countless
theory.
men over
It's backed by
60
solid
who
science.
suffered from recurrent
Multiple
bouts
studies
of
published by the
balanitis
National
for months,
Institutes of
or
Health
even
NIH
years,
have consistently
trying various
demonstrated
creams
this.
and
In one
medications
meta-analysis,
without success,
researchers
because
looked
no
at
one ever
numerous trials
identified
and
the
found
root
that regular,
cause.
daily cinnamon
dry
intake was
technique.
significantly
Even more
linked to lower
concerning than the
fasting
risk of
blood sugar
infection
levels.
is the
This
long-term
provides powerful
cumulative
evidence that
damage.
this simple spice
Over the
helps
years,
protect
as
those
these
crucial
microtears
microvessels,
heal,
the
your
very
body
foundation of
forms
healthy
tiny amounts of
circulation.
scar tissue.
Here's a simple way to
Over
think about
time,
it.
this
Imagine
scar
your
tissue
bloodstream
builds
is a
up,
busy highway.
process
A
called
sugary meal is
fibrosis,
like suddenly
which makes
releasing
the
thousands
skin
of
less
cars onto that
pliable
highway
and
all at
permanently
once.
reduces
It causes
nerve
a massive
sensitivity.
traffic jam.
You are
The cars
quite
bump
literally
into each other,
rubbing away
damaging
your
the
own
road
sensation
surface.
for
Now,
good.
think of cinnamon
Here's a
as a
simple
skilled traffic
analogy
cop.
to help you
It doesn't
visualize
stop the
what's
cars from
happening.
entering, but it directs
Imagine
them
you
onto
have
the
a
highway in a
beautiful
smooth,
antique
orderly
wooden
fashion.
slide in your
No
backyard,
jams. No
the kind you
pileups.
might have
And
played
no
on as a
damage to the
kid.
road.
If
It keeps everything flowing the way it should. So how can you incorporate this into your routine safely and effectively? It is incredibly simple. I recommend adding just a quarter to a half teaspoon of real Ceylon cinnamon to your coffee grounds before you brew. The hot water will extract the beneficial compounds right along with the flavor of the coffee. Or if you prefer, you can just stir it directly into your finished cup. The key, as with all of these things, is consistency, making it a daily ritual. I had a patient, a 65-year-old contractor named David. He came to me complaining about that dreaded 3 p.m. energy crash. Every single afternoon, like clockwork, he'd hit a wall. He started doing just this one thing, adding a little cinnamon to his morning coffee. A few weeks later, he told me it was a complete game changer. He said, "Doc, I don't know how it works, but I can now power through my entire workday with steady energy." That single, simple change made a world of difference for him, and it could for you too. All right, let's move on to our second powerhouse ingredient. This is one that many people people associate with dessert or a comforting winter drink, but I assure you, its true benefits are far more profound. I am talking about ingredient number 2, unsweetened cocoa powder. I personally call this one the nitric oxide booster. Now, before you start thinking about that sugary hot chocolate mix tucked away in your pantry, we need to address the most common and critical mistake I see men make. They hear the word chocolate and they immediately think of a sweet treat. But those commercial hot chocolate packets, they are almost always loaded with sugar and other artificial ingredients. That sugar, as we've already discussed, actively works against our goal here. It contributes to the very blood vessel inflammation and damage that we are trying so hard to combat. The real magic isn't in the sweetness. The magic is in the raw, bitter, and powerful source material. So please, remember this. We want pure, unsweetened, and preferably non-alkalized cocoa powder. That is where the power is. So why exactly does this simple dark powder hold so much potential for a man's health? It all comes down to a special class of powerful antioxidants called flavonoids, and one in particular called epicatechin. In the introduction, I mentioned that a critical molecule called nitric oxide. It's the master key that tells your blood vessels to relax, to open up, and to allow blood to flow freely and forcefully. Well, your body can't just create nitric oxide out of thin air. It needs specific raw materials to produce it. The flavonoids in cocoa are those precise raw materials. They are the essential building blocks. When you consistently consume them, you are quite literally giving your body the exact tools it needs to repair and maintain the function of your endothelium, that vital, delicate inner lining of all your arteries. And please know, this is not just a hopeful theory. This is based on compelling clinical evidence. Researchers at esteemed institutions, including the world-renowned Cleveland Clinic, have published numerous studies on this very topic. In one key study highlighted in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers had participants consume a high flavonoid cocoa drink daily. They then measured something called flow-mediated dilation. Now, that is just a medical term for how well your arteries can expand and contract when blood flow increases. A direct indicator of vascular health. The results were clear. The group consuming the flavonoid-rich cocoa saw a significant, measurable improvement in their vascular function, demonstrating that these compounds have a direct, positive, and physical effect on the health of the blood vessels themselves. Let me give you a simple analogy I often use with my patients in the clinic. Think of your arteries like the garden hoses you have behind your house. When you were younger, that hose was brand new. It was flexible, it was soft, and water flowed through it with powerful, directed pressure. But after decades of sitting out in the sun and the cold, the plastic gets brittle. It stiffens up. It might even develop small cracks. The flow of water becomes weaker. Cocoa flavonoids are like a specialized conditioning treatment for those old, stiff hoses. They don't replace it, but they help to restore its flexibility and its softness, allowing that powerful, steady flow to return once again. So how do you put this into practice in your own life? It truly could not be easier. I recommend you simply stir 1 heaping teaspoon of high-quality, unsweetened cocoa powder directly into your mug of hot coffee. If you can find it, look for a brand that is labeled cacao powder. That's CACAO, as it's typically the less processed version. This will ensure you're getting the maximum flavonoid content. It mixes right in, and it instantly transforms your regular coffee into a rich, delicious, and completely sugar-free mocha. You get all the flavor without any of the guilt. And this is where a truly powerful synergy happens. I worked with a gentleman named Robert, a 68-year-old who loved tinkering with his classic car on the weekends. He told me his biggest frustration was that his focus would just disappear by late morning. He felt mentally foggy. He started this one habit adding cocoa to his coffee. About a month later, he told me something fascinating. He said, "Doc, the coffee always woke up my brain. I get that. But the cocoa, it feels like it wakes up my entire body." And that right there is the synergy. The caffeine in the coffee provides that immediate mental lift and alertness. Meanwhile, the cocoa flavonoids are working quietly in the background, supporting the physical circulation needed to deliver oxygen and nutrients not just to the rest of your body, but to your brain as well, fueling that sharp mental clarity and steady physical stamina that lasts all day long. It's a true one to punch for your health. Okay, we've talked about stabilizing your blood sugar with cinnamon and boosting your circulation with cocoa. Now, we are going to move on to an ingredient that works on a slightly different but equally important system in the body. Let's talk about about ingredient number 3, Maca powder. This one is what I refer to as the hormone supporter. Now, it is incredibly important that we start by clearing up a very common mistake. Because of how it's often marketed online, people hear about Maca and they immediately mistake it for some kind of stimulant or a quick fix pill that promises instant results. That is not how Maca works at all. It will not give you a sudden jolt of energy like an energy drink. Maca is something entirely different. It's what herbalists and scientists call an adaptogen. That name is key. An adaptogen doesn't force your body to do anything. Instead, it adapts to what your body needs, and it works gently over time to help your systems find their natural balance again. It's a supporter, not a bully. So why has this ancient Peruvian root been used for thousands of years to support energy and stamina? The science points to its incredibly dense nutritional profile. Maca is what's known as a cruciferous vegetable in the same family as broccoli and cauliflower. It's packed with essential micronutrients, including vital minerals like zinc and iodine, as well as unique amino acids and fatty acids. Now, these aren't just random nutrients. They are the specific raw materials that your endocrine system, the complex network of glands that produces and regulates all of your hormones, including testosterone, needs to function properly. When your body is under stress or as you age, this system can become depleted. Maca essentially helps to replenish the pantry, giving your body the fundamental building blocks it needs to support its own natural, healthy hormone balance. And while large-scale, modern clinical trials are still catching up to what traditional cultures have known for centuries, the evidence we do have is very promising. A systematic review published in the journal Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine in 2010 looked at several studies on Maca's effects on vitality and performance. The researchers concluded that there was tangible evidence to support its use for improving energy and stamina over time. The key takeaway from the scientific literature is that the effects are not immediate, but they are consistent. This aligns perfectly with what we know about its role as an adaptogen. Here's the best analogy to understand how it functions within your body. I want you to think of your entire hormonal system as a finely tuned orchestra. When you were younger, every instrument was in perfect harmony. The violins, the brass, the percussion, they all played together beautifully. But as the years go by, maybe the conductor gets a little tired. One section starts playing a little too loud, another a little too soft. The beautiful music becomes dissonant and chaotic. Maca doesn't come in and start playing an instrument. No, Maca acts like a new, wise conductor. It steps onto the podium, it listens to the entire orchestra, and it gently guides each section back to its proper rhythm and volume, restoring that beautiful, powerful harmony once again. It brings balance back to the entire system. So, how do you use this in your daily life? I recommend a slow and steady approach. You can start with 1 level teaspoon of Maca powder. Because it works to support your system, you don't necessarily need it every single day. Try adding it to your coffee maybe 3 or 4 times a week. It has a very pleasant, earthy, almost nutty or malty taste that actually blends quite beautifully with the flavor of coffee. The most important thing here is patience. Give it a solid 3 to 4 weeks of consistent use and then just notice. Notice your overall energy levels. Notice your resilience to stress. Notice your stamina. The feedback I get from my patients on this is remarkably consistent. Men don't report a sudden, dramatic jolt. Instead, they use the same phrase over and over. They tell me, Doc, after about a month, I just started to feel more like myself again. The energy is steadier, the mood is more stable, and that quiet, inner confidence just rises. It's a gradual return to your baseline, a return to feeling resilient, capable, and even-keeled. And before we get to our next 2 ingredients, which I consider the real game changers, I'd love to know what you think so far. Let me know in the comments which of these first 3 are you most curious to try. Cinnamon, cocoa, or Maca? Drop a comment below and let me know. Alright, we've covered 3 powerful plant-based powders. Now we're going to shift gears slightly into something that many of my patients find truly transformative for their day-to-day energy levels. We are now on ingredient number 4, a single teaspoon of coconut oil, or more specifically, MCT oil. Now, what I call this is simply clean fuel for your body's engine. Now, when I mention adding oil to coffee, I often get a skeptical look, and I understand why. For decades, a huge mistake was drilled into our heads, this old, outdated fear of fat. We were told relentlessly that a low-fat diet was the key to health, and that all fats were the enemy. This led to an entire generation of men replacing healthy, natural fats with processed carbohydrates and sugar. We now know, unequivocally, that this was a terrible mistake. The truth is, your body, and especially your hormonal system, absolutely requires healthy fats to function. They are not optional. They are essential. So why is this particular type of fat so powerful for men over 60? The answer lies in its unique molecular structure. The primary fat in coconut oil is a special type called a medium-chain triglyceride, or MCT, for short, unlike longer-chain fats found in many other foods. MCTs are processed by the body in a very different way. They bypass the normal digestive process and go straight from the gut to the liver. They are immediately converted into something called ketones. Ketones are a super efficient, super clean source of energy for your cells, especially your brain cells. This process provides a steady, reliable stream of fuel that does not spike your blood sugar or insulin levels. It's pure, sustained energy. Furthermore, and this is critically important for men, your body literally cannot produce testosterone without the proper raw materials. And what is the primary building block of all sex hormones, including testosterone? Cholesterol. And how does your body produce cholesterol? From healthy dietary fats. By providing your body with a clean, high-quality fat source like coconut oil, you are giving it the fundamental raw materials it needs to support its own natural hormone production. And this isn't just my opinion. This is a concept well supported by mainstream medical institutions. In multiple health publications, experts from the Mayo Clinic have highlighted the crucial and direct link between a stable energy metabolism and healthy hormone function. The science is very clear. When your body is constantly dealing with the roller coaster of sugar highs and crashes, it creates a stressful internal environment that disrupts hormone balance. When your energy is stable, your hormones are far more likely to remain balanced as well. I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. Think of your body's energy system like a fireplace. Eating sugar is like throwing a handful of dry newspaper onto the fire. You get a big, bright flash of flame that burns hot for a few minutes, and then it's gone. It dies down just as quickly as it started, leaving you with nothing but ash. That's the crash. Now, consuming MCT oil, that is like placing a dense, seasoned hardwood log onto the embers. It doesn't create a big, dramatic flame right away. Instead, it catches slowly, and it provides a steady, reliable, and consistent heat that can last for hours and hours. It's the difference between fleeting energy and true, lasting stamina. So, how can you bring this into your own morning routine? I always advise my patients to start small. Begin with just half a teaspoon of a high-quality virgin coconut oil or a pure MCT oil. The key to making it enjoyable is to blend it. If you just stir it in, it will float on top. But if you use a small, inexpensive milk frother, you can find one online for $10 or $15. It will emulsify the oil into the coffee, creating a wonderfully rich, creamy texture, very similar to a cafe latte. It's absolutely delicious. I'll share a quick story about a patient of mine, Frank. He was 64 and his chief complaint was brain fog. He told me, "Doc, I can get going in the morning, but by 10 a.m., my brain just feels like it's full of cotton." It turned out his breakfast was just black coffee with 2 spoons of sugar. That's it. We made one single change. We swapped the sugar for a small teaspoon of MCT oil blended in. 2 weeks later, he came back to my office and he was practically beaming. He said the difference was like night and day. He could power all the way through to lunchtime with sharp focus and more mental energy than he had in a decade. That one simple switch from dirty fuel to clean fuel changed everything for him. Okay, we have arrived at our final ingredient, and I've saved this one for last for a very specific reason. While the others provide foundational support for your energy, hormones, and blood sugar, this one is a true circulation powerhouse. We are closing with ingredient number 5, ginger. Now, the most common mistake people make with ginger is underestimating its versatility. Most of us think of ginger in one of 2 ways, either as a remedy for an upset stomach, perhaps in a ginger ale, or as a spice used in Asian cooking. And while it is wonderful for both of those things, to limit it to just that is to overlook its most incredible and most profound circulatory benefits. Its true power lies not just in soothing your stomach, but in actively improving the health and function of your entire vascular system. So why is this humble Nabi root so incredibly effective? It all comes down to its primary active compound, a potent substance called gingerol. Gingerol is the source of ginger's unique spicy, pungent flavor, but more importantly, it is a powerful natural anti-inflammatory and a vasodilator. Now, a vasodilator is just a scientific term for something that helps your blood vessels relax and open up. As we've discussed, a key part of aging is that our blood vessels can become stiff and inflamed. Gingerol works to directly counteract this. It helps to calm the chronic, low-grade inflammation that can build up over the years. and it encourages the smooth muscle tissue in your artery walls to relax, allowing for wider, more efficient blood flow. Furthermore, gingerol is a potent antioxidant. This is crucial for men's health because the cells in the testicles that are responsible for producing testosterone, they are particularly vulnerable to something called oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is essentially cellular damage caused by an imbalance in the body. The powerful antioxidant properties of ginger help to protect these delicate cells, creating a healthier environment for optimal hormone production. And this isn't just folk wisdom. This is backed by an ever-growing body of scientific research. A comprehensive review of multiple studies published in the journal Biomolecules in 2019 explored the wide-ranging health effects of ginger. The researchers consistently found evidence that regular ginger intake was linked to improved blood flow markers. Other specific studies in animal models have shown a direct correlation between ginger supplementation and increased testosterone levels, directly attributed to its ability to protect testicular health from oxidative stress I mentioned. The science is clear. Ginger works on multiple pathways to support a man's vitality. Let's use one last analogy to make this crystal clear. I want you to imagine the vast network of pipes running through an old house. Over 50 or 60 years, what happens to those pipes? Slowly but surely, a little bit of rust, a little bit of mineral buildup starts to accumulate on the inside walls. The opening gets narrower and narrower, and the water pressure drops. Now, think of gingerol as a gentle, natural, and effective pipe cleaner. It doesn't use harsh chemicals. Instead, it works slowly and consistently to dissolve that rust and buildup, which is the inflammation, helping to keep those pipes open, smooth, and clear. It's not about a sudden jolt. It is about consistent, long-term maintenance and protection for your internal plumbing. So how can you best incorporate this into your morning coffee? You have two excellent options. The first and easiest is to simply use a quarter teaspoon of high-quality, dry ginger powder and stir it right into your coffee. The second option, which is my personal favorite, is to use fresh ginger. Just take a small coin-sized piece of fresh ginger root, peel it, and slice it into a couple of very thin discs. Drop those right into your mug while your coffee is still hot. Let it steep for a few minutes. The heat will extract those wonderful, volatile oils and compounds. Both methods are effective, so choose the one that is most convenient for you. I'll finish with the story of Charles. Charles was a 70-year-old veteran I had the privilege of working with. He came to me struggling with many of the common issues we've discussed: energy dips, circulation concerns, and just a general feeling that he'd lost his edge. He started this one simple habit. He adds a thin slice of fresh ginger to his coffee every single morning. About a month later, he came back for a follow-up, and he had a spark in his eye I hadn't seen before. He told me, he said, "Doc, I can't explain it perfectly, but I feel a renewed sharpness, not just in my body, but in my mind." For Charles, this wasn't about trying to chase his youth. It was about feeling capable again. It was about feeling confident in his own body. And that single, simple slice of ginger was, in his own words, his secret weapon. So there you have it, gentlemen. 5 powerful, science-backed tools for your morning routine. We've covered cinnamon for supporting healthy blood sugar, cocoa for boosting that all-important nitric oxide, Maca, for gently balancing your hormones, coconut oil for providing clean, efficient fuel, and finally ginger for powerful, long-term circulatory support. Each one, in its own way, is a tool to help you rebuild from the inside out. But as I always say, knowledge without action is just entertainment. It won't change a thing. So here is your simple 3-step action plan for this week. First, I want you to pick just one of the 5 ingredients we discussed today. Please do not try to do everything at once. That just leads to feeling overwhelmed. Second, commit to adding that single ingredient to your coffee for the next 7 days. Make it non-negotiable. And third, just pay attention. That's it. Simply notice how you feel. Notice your energy levels in the late morning. Notice your focus. You might be surprised at what you find. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Doc, can something this simple, this inexpensive really make a difference? And my answer to you, based on over 2 decades of clinical experience, is an emphatic yes. The beauty of this approach is that it's not about buying another expensive supplement that costs $50 or $60 a bottle and sits on your shelf. These are simple, everyday ingredients you can find in any grocery store. The challenge isn't complexity. The challenge is consistency. Real, lasting change doesn't come from giant, heroic leaps. It comes from the small, intelligent choices you make and repeat day after day. And remember why this truly matters. This is about so much more than just your morning. This is about having the strength and the vitality to show up fully in your own life. It's about being able to pick up your grandkids without a second thought. It's about having the stamina to travel and make new memories with your partner. It's about staying independent, capable, and strong for as long as possible. The small choices you make each morning, they are the building blocks of the life you want to live. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. So if you are committed to making a change, no matter how small, I invite you to join our growing community of men who are taking control of their health. If you found any value in this video, please take a moment to hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe so you never miss our future health guides. And most importantly, I want you to make a public commitment. Not to me, but to yourself. Go to the comments section right now and write the simple words, Day 1. That's your signal that you are starting this journey with us. Let's support each other. Thank you so much for investing your valuable time with me today. Be sure to watch my next video, where we'll explore the 3 surprising signs of poor circulation that most men completely ignore. Until then, this is Dr. Audrey Wells, reminding you that your best years do not have to be behind you. Stay strong.